Are you wondering how to create a project roadmap in PowerPoint? Well, if that's the case, then you've come to the right video, because I'm going to be showing you 4 different project roadmap templates that you can build very quickly and very easily, depending on the needs and depending on the project that you are working on. So I'm going to start first and foremost with a basic IT project roadmap. So this is probably what you will want to start out with. I will be putting in some timestamps in the description. So if you want to jump through to any of the 4 versions, you can easily just by clicking that button. But we're going to begin with this, as I say, the IT project roadmap. I say IT, it doesn't have to be an IT project, it's just commonly associated with those kind of projects. So we're going to start by creating, we're going to use some shapes to build basically a space out that is going to enable us to enter our activities. So what I would recommend doing is just adding some around 3 boxes. If you saw what I did there, I clicked insert, I clicked shapes, and then I've gone on a rectangle. Now this is my formatting by default. Of course, if you're working in your own PowerPoint, then it may be different colors, and you can change the colors as well. This might actually be a little bit too vibrant for us. I quite like the color, so I might actually keep it. If I need to change it, I will. But you can change the colors. Obviously, in the home, you've got the shape fill and the shape outline as well. So we could change that, and I might actually have to do that in a moment. But that's how you would do it via the home tab. But what we want to really do here is just create 3 boxes that are the same kind of size and the same kind of distance between them. And I use the Control V, Control C to do that copy and paste for your information. So what these essentially are going to be is it's going to be the area that we can start adding our activities, and we are going to, for the purpose of this quick template and demo, I'm just going to name these. So we're going to have, this one's going to be network. This one is going to be, I'm going to do another one here, so I might need a little bit more space. Let's bring this down to the bottom. This one is going to be, let's call this security. So as I say, this is for a classic kind of IT project, but you could change this accordingly depending on, as I say, the type of project you're working on. And we'll call this, let's just say needs assessment for now. Let's drag this across. So I've not done a very good job of keeping this all aligned. It looks a little bit out of sync at the moment. I'm just going to try and line it up and spell correctly at the same time. So there are kind of different phases, if you like, of this IT project. Now at the top, so this is quite important for your roadmap, is you're going to need to add, I'm going to do this via different boxes, but what we need to add here is a timeline. So what we're going to do is, actually, having said that, I'm not going to do that via the text box functionality. I will use a table. So insert table, and we're going to click this button here. So we need it to be 12 columns and 1 row. So that's 12 months of the year. And we're going to do it like this. So OK. And as you'll see, it's given us this kind of box. Now I'm actually going to drag this across to make it cover the entire length of the roadmap. And I actually do need to change the color here. So I'm going to go home, shape fill, and let's put this in like a kind of a kind of grey. Now what we're going to want to do here is literally add the months. So we've got January, February, March. Always miss out April. I don't know why. It's bad really. April, May, June. I missed out a couple of months there. June, July. So you get the July, August. You get the idea of what I'm doing here. I might need to make these smaller as well. August, September. Just put this as set for now, just for convenience and time's sake. October, Nov, and December. So these are our months of the year, as you can see, and that's going to enable us to map. If you want to make that text smaller, I've just left clicked on that cell, dragged across, and I'm going to bring this down. So now that's a little bit better formatting, isn't it? And what you can also do is then I could add another table. So insert table, click this button here, and there's 4 quarters in the year. So if we do 4 columns, 1 row, and put this up like this, and drag this across. Now what we could do here, put this in a darker grey. So I'm going to put it in, oh, I need to do that for all of the boxes. I'm not doing this in a very quick way, am I? I'm sorry. But you're getting the idea. This is going to be Q1, so this could be Q1 2021. And I'm going to select all of that, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, get rid of that space, get rid of that space, get rid of that space. Obviously Q2, Q3, Q4. So that's the general premise. You've got your timeline at the top here. Now all you'd need to really do is start filling out the different activities that are due and when within your box areas here. So I will actually change this color because I don't think it's going to be quite right for what we're looking to do. I'm actually just going to put this in a, let's put this in a grey because that does work quite well, and I probably should get rid of that shape outline as well. So home format painter, we should get that straight away. Format painter straight away. Now, when we start adding our activities, we simply use shapes to do that. So what we are doing here is we're basically just adding different tasks that are due on the project and when. So in the network, we want to have activity 1 completed in between Feb and Jan. So right click, edit text, activity 1. And we're going to make that text a little bit smaller. Home, let's bring this down. So that's when activity 1 is due. So it's taking place in Q1 2021 between Jan and Feb. Now activity 2, Control C, Control V, that's going to take place between March and April. So that's intersecting the quarters, and we're going to have that listed here as well. And now for activity 2, we might want to give this a different color because a different team is looking after this particular activity. So I'm going to put that in a different shade. So that's one way of differentiating between activities, who's responsible. And what you can do, I'm just going to bold this actually, make that look a little bit more. What you can do when you have the different colors, and you can put a map down the bottom or a key, which basically gives an idea of what the colors mean. So for instance, I'll quickly do that now actually, just to give you an idea, just before we kind of proceed. Let's just call this key, and then what we would simply do is we just do something like, let's say that's the let's say that's the responsibility of the project manager. And then this one would be, let's say, the product team. So that's just, an idea of how you could start to kind of give some context behind what your project roadmap means, and who's responsible for what. And yeah, that's essentially how you'd fill this out. So you get the idea, you'd go across to security, you could have different activities that are required in the security aspect of the project. Now, one other thing I would recommend doing is you can put in some lines. So if I go shapes, and we'll use line here. Now you can drag this down to, you could put this down like this, and that obviously breaks up the quarters. My color is all wrong there. Let's put another one in. Actually, just Control C, Control V. You could put that in just to break it up. I would probably need to put that in a grey, and actually I will, because it doesn't look very nice, does it? So home, we're going to change this to, let's just put that as a black. I'm going to format painter that. Click on there if I can. Yeah, I managed to get it. So that's just another way of breaking it up. And another thing you can also do is you could put in something like, a text box that simply says where you are. So for instance, it might not be Q1 you're creating this, or you might be looking back at this in retrospection. So I'm going to put, let's just say we're here. So you could put a little text box in here that just says today, and that will give you an idea of where you are. Shape outline. We're going to put let's put a little grey, and actually let's put this in a grey. Then you could put that, mate, that's probably a bit too big. but you could just put that at the top there. So it just gives an idea of where you are, you know. I've done it all wrong really, but you know, that's the kind of idea behind that. And then, so you've got your activities. The other thing you might want to add are milestones. So you might want to use a different shape for that. So click insert shape, and you could use something like, oh, what kind of shape could we use to represent a milestone? You know, it could be, let's just use a pentagon for now. But let's just say this is, you know, milestone 2 is taking place between June and July. So you would literally go in there and you would put, oh, don't need the alt text, I need to edit text. So that would be that milestone 1. So you basically build this out. That's essentially what you're doing here. I'm just trying to give you the overview of what you would do, the kind of steps you would take. But you would need to add all of your milestones, your activities, against each of the different elements or phases of the project. So here in all the network tasks, and yeah, change your formatting so it's all kind of the right size and shape and things like that. And then other things you can add. So we've got activity or task, if you like. I should probably put that like that, just for your kind of reference. We've got activity or tasks. That would obviously be the name as well. We've got our milestones, and the other thing you might want to put in here are things like reports. So when reports are due, so it could be a status report. So let's just use document for this one. So this could be in security, we need to provide, you know, this needs to be a management report. So this could be a management report that's sent to the security stakeholders during, let's just put it in Q4. That's when they're expecting it. Obviously at the close of the year to find out where we are on this project. Maybe it's a multi-year project. So that really is the basics of building a project roadmap. That's the process involved. But as I said at the start of this video, there's other ways of doing it. That's just one variation. So I'm actually going to move on to the second one now. And the second one would be, I'm going to duplicate it because it's not too much, you know, not too much different really. You'd keep the timeline at the top. But what you would simply do here is, let's delete all this out. Let's delete this. We don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need this. We actually don't need this. Don't need this. I'll get rid of the key as well. But what this would basically be doing is you can basically map it by tasks and milestones. I'll actually do that the other way around. So here you would basically put all of your tasks in your roadmap. So this could be, you know, let's actually build this out with some shapes. So this would be something like, you know, you could put this as phase 1. So there's edit text. So this could be phase 1. And that could be, you know, your design and planning, for instance. That's too big. Let's make that a bit smaller. Phase 2, which is going to take, you know, this is very simple. Let's just say phase 2 takes place in Q2, just for simplicity's sake. So phase 2 could be, you know, your analysis. Phase 3 would be, you know, development. And phase 4 could be launch, as an example. Very basic. Obviously, again, as I've said throughout this video, depends on what your project is and what you need. Let's just say, you know, these are the ones for your particular project. Change the colors of these as well. So each phase could have their own color. So let's just try and do this quite quickly in the interest of time. Perhaps not the best colors. You know, it doesn't almost look good on the eye, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. And then throughout this, you could start adding tasks. So you could then put shape, and then you could put, this could be, say, task 1. And what you can do with, what I quite like about this one is you can match the colors for the phases. So, you know, task 1 could be here. You know, you could have a task that actually is due, you know, task, you can have multiple task 1s. Depending on the phase they're in. So this could actually be task 1 within the development phase. So let's just change format painter. Oh, didn't want to do that. Home, format painter, click on this. So yeah, that's the kind of basic principle here. So you map all your tasks, and at the top you can just put your milestones. So this could be something like, let's use, I haven't got my shapes down here, have I really? let's just use, oh, what one should we use? Let's just use this. It's not probably the best, but you could put kickoff. So this could be, milestone would be project, can't spell now, it's all going wrong, kickoff. This could be, I'm actually going to make these smaller because this is just too big. Make that smaller. That is project kickoff. It's going to take place between, now let's just get it in Jan. Let's get it in Jan. Project is kicking off in Jan Q1. Control C, Control V. Then you could have, in March, we've got another milestone. Could be, we need to finalize our plans. Finalize, I think that's how you spell finalize. Yep, finalize plans. And then next up in the next month, we could be, another milestone would be, we are, I don't know, we're having a design kickoff. No, that wouldn't make sense. Sorry, apologies, because we're in the wrong phase. It's analysis. So this could be, I don't know, some kind of analysis review. And that would obviously need to be in green. So yeah, when you're building this out, just take, consider these things that I'm doing here. I'm making sure colors are mapped accordingly. It's just great for, I don't know what happened there. But it's just great for, any stakeholder that comes into here and opens this up, and it gives, it's easier on the eye. So if you use different colors, green, two greens, perhaps not ideal, but anyone who comes in and sees, blue in a milestone, they know that relates to phase 3 development. You can kind of build that story out, which is really, really good. So that's really how this second project roadmap will work. I'm just thinking, in the interest of time, I don't want to completely build this all out. It's more to give you an idea of how to build your own. If you do want the template, then I'm happy to provide it with you, and you can use it as a basis. Just send me an email and I can do that for you. But let's just say this is this milestone is final report. So as I say, it's going to completely depend on the project you're on and what you're doing. They won't be the same as here, so just bear that in mind. So that is the second project roadmap we have. Another way of doing it, so this is on a project level, you can also do a multiple project roadmap. So I'm just going to quickly show you this one. So again, I've duplicated in the interest of time. Much of it, stays the same. The only thing that would really differ here is, so let's just get rid of all these for now, actually, because they're probably just going to confuse things in this particular roadmap. So this third one is, you would basically have, this would be project 1. But ultimately, as you'll see, and this would be project 2, and you could even, add another one as well. We could bring this up, and actually let's delete that. Let's go copy V, and then that was Control V, by the way, not shut out V. And we're going to do a Control V, and then that's going to be project 3. So yeah, this just basically gives you a way, or I should say, of adding multiple projects into one roadmap. So this can be really helpful if you've got multiple projects ongoing at the same time. It might be very, very useful for your stakeholders, but it works in very much the same way. The only thing I would say here is you're going to be working on a higher level. So you might not be putting individual tasks here. You might be putting in, where the project is in its phase. So for instance, let's put in one of these. Project 1 could be, this, it could be in planning, or, let's just say, we need before I do that, we need a key. So we could have anything that is, insert shape, back here. So this color could mean edit text, planning, Control V. This could be approved. This could be, I need to change the colors, as you can imagine. This could be development. So really what we're doing here is we're just outlining all the different phases of a project, or where the different, where they're at, basically. So let's change this to red, this color, and then just not very nice at all, but you get the idea. Now, when it comes to how you'd map this, you would basically just be adding in, again, different tasks or activities related to it. It could be anything you like. So just, you would literally be doing the same thing, of course, mapping it back to the timeline at the top. So in project 1, something could be happening here. You know, this could be happening here. In project, you know, in project 2, that could be happening in Feb, and the same, you know, the same task could be happening in Q2 for this project 3. So yeah, it's just how you want to map it, whether you want to do it on a project level or a multiple project level. So this would be just, you'd have text in here. So this could be an activity, this could be a milestone, essentially anything you like. I'll just put activity in for your kind of, for demo purposes, make this smaller so it stays in January. So your key is your formatting, really, to make sure this all works. And as you can see, making the text smaller is very useful. Just don't make it too small, so that whoever opens this document cannot understand what you're saying. Now, the last way of doing this, or last option when it comes to creating a project roadmap in PowerPoint, is to almost do it on a workstream level. So I'm gonna, instead of, now we'll keep the top, but what we'll do this time is we're essentially going to delete all this out. Let's delete all of this out. I'm actually going to get rid of that for now, and we're going to start from scratch. So this is the 4th method, by the way. Maybe by this point you've already got your project roadmap, but just consider that this is another way of doing it. You know, you might like the other 3 I've showed you, or you might have waited to this point to work out, you know, if there's one other option that might be more beneficial for you. So here we would essentially be mapping the work streams on the left hand side, and then we would be specifying when, you know, projects start against them. So insert table, we're going to do, I'm not sure how much it's going to need, so I'm just going to do, I'll do, let's just do 12 columns to map the to map against the dates. And let's just say there's going to be, I don't know, 10 work streams. No, not 10 work streams. There'll be 5 work streams with tasks within the work stream. So you'll see what I mean. I'm kind of confusing matters. Right, let's get rid of all of this formatting. So we need to go layout. No, we don't. Table design. I don't want any shading. No fill. We'll put some borders in because that makes things a lot more manageable. I'm actually going to move this over, if I can get that. There we go. So let's move that over. I'm going to move this over as well. So we need to move this over to there, this over to here, and then I'm just trying to line this up, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a moment. So let's line that up like that. I'm actually going to need another column. So insert. I realise that now. So where is it? Where is it? There it is. So insert column to the left, and let's drag this back out. No, we don't need that. Oh yeah, that's worked. Okay. Sorry, I'm really confusing matters. That doesn't have either, does it? Right. What we needed to do here is basically enter work streams, and now that's in white. So we need to make sure that is in black. So the text here will be black. Let's make this smaller. Let's call this, I actually want to make this table design, I want to make this column wider. There we go. God, it's taking me a while to build this out, isn't it? I hope you're still with me. Anyway, so that's the work stream. We're going to put work stream here, and then what we're basically going to do is we're going to add the work stream one by one down the rows. So again, I need to change this. So we need this smaller. So that's work stream 1. Let's say work stream 2 is there. And we need to make this smaller. So again, make that smaller. And that's going to be workstream 2, 3, let's say 4. Now you could have subtasks under each work stream. So I'm actually going to add one here. So, you know, work stream 1 could be, I don't know, you're kind of doing some kind of analysis. It could be, you know, product design, etc. So these really could be, well, they could be phases even, or you know, different elements to the project. But these would basically be subtasks. So let's call that subtask 1. There's only one subtask in this work stream. There's going to be 2 in this one. So I'm going to Control C, Control V. I'm going to format paint those as well because they're too big. Right, so that would be 2. So yeah, that's essentially what you would do in this column. We might want to differentiate this actually with a little bit of shading. So I'm going to table design. I'm going to do, no, I'm not. I'm going to go home, shape fill, and I'm going to do like a kind of a light grey. That one's quite nice. And you might want to bold these, you might not want to. And anyway, what the idea is here, you would essentially start adding different projects and different milestones that are due. So you could have a project with, you know, multiple projects ongoing that have all the same work streams, or it may just be one project. But either way, you would just simply, as the name suggests with a roadmap, you're just mapping the tasks against the calendar. That's essentially what you're doing. So in here, you know, let's just say this is for one particular project. This could be, you know, you're doing one, this would be work stream 1. This is when the activity happens. So you'd put, you know, what the activity is in here. Then you could create another, you know, let's go to the document 1. This would be when the milestone, it's not the milestone, or the, you know, the report is due. So you essentially just build it out like that really, and you can put in dates as well. But it's, as I say, at the top you've got the date reference, so you do get the idea. It's very it's mapped as the name suggests. So I think that's it really. These are the 4 different variations of creating a project roadmap in PowerPoint. I hope this was useful. If it was, please do hit the like button. That tells me I should continue creating videos like this. And if you do subscribe and hit the bell button, then you'll be alerted of when I release new videos. If you want this template, any of these templates, so here's a spoiler for you. This is what I can send you when they're a little bit more done up. I should have mentioned this before. This is what they look like when they're finished. And I'll put this in the description down below a timestamp, so you know anyone who didn't get this far can see this. But these are what they look like when they're finished. And you know, when I've obviously, I don't want to spend too much time here today, so I've built them out quickly. But this is really how they could look. So that's your first variation. This is your second with the milestone and tasks. This is your multiple project version, and then this is your kind of workstream version. I did it on a 12-month. You could do it on a 6-month, and this is, you know, as I mentioned briefly, this is done by the different projects. But you can see how the colouring works to differentiate the tasks and the activities. And I'll just quickly go through these maybe a little bit more slowly so you can take a look at each one. But these templates, I can send all of these if you do want to. Do send me an email on these. But with that said, I hope you have an excellent day.